257. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Land release.
One away.
Sim feels good. On switch is coming.
Let me fly in space.
Let me fly in space.
Let me see that black sky.
Good, all set.
Copy that. Firing switch coming. Mark.
On June 21st, 2004,
10 seconds.
a privately made rocket plane launched into history.
Left pedal, left pedal. Follow this.
Its mission?
Whoa.
To become the world's first commercial manned space vehicle.
This is not good.
If successful,
Very rough ride initially.
the flight of SpaceShipOne will open a new era of space exploration.
Wow, you would not believe the view.
Moving forward to see that black sky.
In the middle of the Mojave Desert, visionary airplane designer Burt Rutan and his company Scaled Composites, a renegade band of test pilots, engineers, and mechanics, are challenging 50 years of thinking about space travel.
Boomerang 24 Bravo Tango is taking the active 30, will be departing.
10 months ago, construction began on the first of two unique flying machines. Today, the team reaches a major milestone in their secret program codenamed Tier 1. Test pilot Doug Shane and co-pilot Pete Seabold prepare their mothership for its maiden flight.
John Scott 1-1, taxi 1 White Knight with 1 mobile on 30 for departure. What type is it? We're calling it a White Knight.
I just gotta ask a question when I see something that isn't the same as usual.
What is usual, John?
White Knight has just one purpose: to lift a rocket plane to 50,000 feet and drop it.
At 110, 120, watch the speed.
Brakes.
Watch the speed.
Big vibration.
Doug, your spoilers are flapping.
Damn, the spoilers are sucking up.
Got a lot of vibration.
But slow it down.
Mike, can you give me a look?
Stand by.
Okay, copy that.
Spoilers are small flaps.
Affirmative, about 3 or 4 hertz in there. It looks like they're going pretty big deflections.
It's a fulfillment of a dream, a specific dream that's about 7 years old.
Okay, yeah, Mike, everything seems fine below 100. We're trying to stay.
We are doing, as a project here at Scale right now, and we have been since April, a space program. Back in 1994, I started toying with what it would take for us to build a supersonic, even hypersonic airplane.
316 firing switch coming.
The dream of this was such a phenomenally exciting ride.
Mark.
We're going to rocket and accelerate really fast. I mean, we're going to go 3.5 Gs straight up. That's a neat ride.
RCS on.
And then we're going to spend about 4 minutes weightless.
Clean shutdown. Here comes Santa.
And we're going to break out of the atmosphere into the black sky, and we're going to get the same view you do from orbit. Obviously, the world's greatest roller coaster would be a suborbital space flight that could be offered to the public.
Burt Rutan is not alone in his dream. In 1996, a group of space enthusiasts announced the X Prize, an international contest intended to jumpstart space tourism. The first non-governmental group to make a suborbital flight to an altitude of 328,000 feet, or 62 miles, twice within 2 weeks will take home the $10 million purse. Aviation prizes have a long history of inspiring innovation, including the $25,000 Orteig Prize that Charles Lindbergh claimed by flying nonstop across the Atlantic in 1927. Its modern-day equivalent, the X Prize, has 20 teams from 7 countries signed up to compete, including Burt Rutan.
Boy, did it straighten back out quickly. Pretty stable, huh?
In the late 90s, Rutan took his ideas off the drawing board for their first test flights.
A feather angle of 55 degrees. 50 degrees. Did I say 50? 50 degrees. Research should be defined as doing something where half of the people think it's impossible. Impossible. And half of them think, maybe that'll work, right? when there's ever a breakthrough, a true breakthrough, you can go back and find a time period when the consensus was, well, that's nonsense. So what that means is that a true creative researcher has to have confidence in nonsense.
Over the last 3 decades, Burt Rutan designed, built, and tested more than 1 original aircraft a year. In 1986, his Voyager airplane became the first and only craft to circle the globe without refueling. From his early home-built kit planes to his recent high-altitude research craft, his theories and designs changed the shape of things that fly in the air. Now, his sights are set a little higher. Construction of the dream begins officially in March of 2001, when investor Paul Allen pledges financial support for the secret project.
I think we're not that far from the time when private individuals with a sense of adventure can try some kind of space tourism experience. I think that kind of experience, to have that open up to be available by anyone, that's a very exciting prospect.
We have a counter to advance. Roger, thank you. What's the event registered reading?
There's less than 500 people that have flown in space in 40 years. A lot of people want to fly in space.
And liftoff of Space Shuttle Columbia.
And they think that our government is working to make it, hopefully in their lifetimes, cheap enough for them to fly in space, when indeed they're not. Unless guys like me go out and do this, it will not get done, period.
Burt's plan calls for the team at scale to build 2 revolutionary vehicles. The first, Rutan's 316th design, is the rocket-powered SpaceShipOne. This 6,000-pound craft with a 16-foot wingspan seats a pilot and 2 passengers. The second vehicle, the mothership White Knight, will carry SpaceShipOne up to an altitude of 50,000 feet and drop it. The rocket plane fires its motor and climbs straight up out of the sky. Its rocket shuts down as the craft leaves the atmosphere. Without the velocity necessary to carry it into orbit, SpaceShipOne coasts up past the boundary of space at 328,000 feet before falling back to Earth. Its suborbital flight ends as it returns to land at Mojave Airport.
Okay, cut hard to your right.
6 months after Rutan and Allen forged their space partnership, the 2 Tier 1 planes begin to take shape.
Visualize 2 switches here. I want them in this axis. You don't want to be out in space with your arm pushing on a toggle switch when you have vibration and 3 Gs forward.
A group of engineers, project managers, and test pilots gather to discuss the cockpit design to be used for both SpaceShipOne and the mothership White Knight.
The thing I want to get from you guys is, do you like the basic orientation?
We're doing this on our own. We're doing this without the support of big governments. We're doing this low-cost way.
We also need a handle there and one back there. You know, for now, somebody ought to just go to the junkyard. You'll find all kinds of wrecked vans there, and just take some wrenches and go get you a bunch of those handles, because there's some real nice ones automotive guys use. Corey, why don't you get in there so he has...
I was responsible for everything that went inside the cabin. That's the floors, the seats, the systems, the windows.
They're out.
Huh? Look at this. These are my legs. These are Burt's legs.
In a cordoned-off area of the scaled hangar, White Knight begins to take shape in secret.
After I had developed the SpaceShipOne design and had a pretty good idea of what its weight and size was, I realized pretty early in the design process we're going to have to take some risks here.
One of Burt's biggest goals was to build this mothership as inexpensive and quickly as possible. We went out and bought a couple J-85